Ain't going back, not gonna buy into all that. Hey, hey, ain't gonna hide, gonna let all the fears slide. Got mother nature, it's on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Something I've been meaning to ask Campbell is like, what was your experience like? Did you go to school in Australia, I'm assuming?
I, mine was a little bit different because I went to 10 schools.
10
Is that
schools?
right? 10 schools. Yeah, lots. My dad was in mining, so my schooling was across all in Australia, but across 3 different states and
Really?
just a lot of schools. So, which is, I don't even, that was probably good because it kind of helped me escape the programming a bit. I was never, sort of anywhere, to get like because every time I moved, you sort of, especially state to state, when you get to the new school, it's at a different, it's not at the same place. So yeah, my schooling was just lots of like either catching up or sitting around being bored because I'd already done it. Yeah, so not a normal experience for me.
No, I always
If you want to freak yourself out, go and look at pictures of school rooms and then school like eating halls and prison eating halls and school buses and prison buses. That will freak you out, and that really tells you what's going on here. This is school. I think we're all starting to see that school is, it's really quite nefarious. It's really holding us all back and holding the whole society back is what it's doing, because no new ideas are allowed out, and that's the problem.
No, they look like prisons from far away and close up, and you see the fences around all the schoolyards, and they say it's for the safety of the children, but that's what we're hearing about all the shenanigans, let's say, going on these days. Always you hear it's for your safety or for your protection or to make sure you're okay, but basically you're locked in an area that you can't get out of for a certain amount of time, following a bell or a whistle or those reports. And I don't know about Campbell, but anytime those reports came on over the speakers where they're talking about you, I always got that creepy crawling feeling up the back of my spine, like some of those strange science fiction shows where there's a disembodied voice coming over from who knows where, telling you what you can do and can't do, and when you're off and when is your holiday, and and when you have to do this and when you have to do that. And it always seemed to me, it felt, for lack of a better word, creepy, unloving, cold, distant.
Sure.
I think the terror comes in the fact that, as you go to the schooling, you're never taught to be independent. You're never taught to fall back on your own resources, your own skills, your own intelligence. You're taught a vocation or a job, but if you look at the bottom of that, who is holding the strings for these jobs and vocations? You could say it's a boss or a big company or a corporation or the monetary system on the other side of things, but those are all things you have no control over, so to speak. And I think that's where the terror and the fears and I have no choice but to follow along, and you put the hands out for the handcuffs because they promise you a raise, as Campbell said, or they promise you a promotion. They promise you one day you'll be at the top of the heap and telling other people what to do, although, it's a horrible heap to be on in the first place, right? You're still in jail. If you're a guard, I talk to any guard, and I have talked to a few over the years, do some of the interviews I've done, is they don't seem any happier than the people they're imprisoning in a way, because, you're still in the same environment, right? It's just, you're on the other side of it. And basically, so what I'm basically saying is at the schooling, if you look at the end result of listening, you're never free. Right? They tell you it's about money, and they tell you can retire, and they can tell you about your pension. But, look around, the governments are all saying now they don't have enough money, or they can't, or, if you want to get your pension or your money, you gotta poison your body in one way or many, or you got to poison your mind in all the other ways. And it's no wonder people are all walking around half shocked or zombified or with that looks on their faces. And it seemed to me, Campbell and I both saw at a young age that, if you look down the path at where they're leading you when you're in school, didn't seem all that attractive to me,
No, it's only attractive if you want to be part of the system. If you don't see life like that, if you see life about being happy and doing what you want and having time, the system doesn't make sense at all. It's a joke. And that's what I think, over what's happened over the last couple of years, everyone's realizing this, because, we had what, probably almost half the world not going to work, but everything kept working.
Strange, yeah.
Nothing exploded. We're all not. So this is the thing. It just shows you that all those jobs were unnecessary. They just for the system, just for the cog, just to keep, the monetary system and the debt system going, because debt's a control. And of course, they control your mind, like Lorenzo said, with the fear, they get you all these, you get all these trinkets, and then they play with the economy and put you in fear of losing it. And to the point now where it's, if you don't get the apple juice, then they'll take it all away. So it's just, it's the same system from birth really, but through school and into work. It's the same control system until we see that and we do something different, act in a different way, we're just going to keep getting the same result and keep getting the same stuff. And pretty much, we're kind of acquiescing, especially if we know that that's the system. If we go along with it, well, you can't really complain. It's time that we all sort of understood we do have real options. We can take real action in a different direction. And, obviously that's what this whole series is about, the Odyssey of Truth.
I mean, you're just taught to follow what you learn to create is not anything worth a long-term sustainable value. People like sustainability these days. I'm not saying it's not important to, let's say, learn to be a plumber or learn to be an electrician or learn to be a technician or an engineer or what have you. But, if you take the system away from those jobs, what are you left with? I mean, if you drop a rocket engineer, so to speak, even if they do exist, I'm not sure about that, into a force somewhere, and he knows how to make all the computers for, cross continental faster than light journeys with, rocket engines built on bee juice or whatever, or Tesla plug-in power. How useful is that? Let's say, when nobody needs that. I mean, and if you are good at that, who is holding those purse strings, right? Who are you building these rockets for? I mean, you look at all the Army and military industrial complex in the States and Canada, and I don't know what it's like in Australia. I've never studied it there, but I know, Canada's deep in that, bullshit and garbage of making money to destroy lives, and what a way to be alive when I think one of the things I did notice about the system was all the jobs were destructive instead of constructive. Whether it was about making money to capitalize. I was a stockbroker for a while. I can talk about that maybe later or another show. And it never seemed like you were doing anything of value, only moving widgets from one spot to another. Or, in Canada, if you deforested it or you cut down trees or you did whatever, you made money. And so it seemed like, or if you hunted, let's say, or if you, so it always seemed like what paid, I tried becoming an artist and getting paid as an artist and try that path. That's that's a, like if you want to be a real artist, not a house decorator, which pays, but, so it seems like this society and who built the economy, right? And why are some things like sports stars more valuable than, someone who is an imaginative genius on philosophical wonderings? Why did they make more money? I mean, and I would always ask why. I think that's when I get back to the question I asked Campbell. I was always going, why? Why does this pay more? Why are they teaching me this? Why is this useful? Why? And as Campbell said, just because, we'd heard, I never found an answer that was satisfactory to me anyways.
No, and that's the question that we all need to start asking. Why? Well, because, if we don't ask that question, we're not going to ever get solutions. And of course, to get to the question why, you need to really think and understand that this wasn't all done in your favor and that it hasn't led you to a life of, happiness and wealth. So ask why and start looking what are the reasons, and then you get off the reasons and you go straight to solutions. How do we fix this? What can I do that's different? And try some things, step out in trust. I think that's something that people don't have enough of, is trust in themselves and, in the creator, if you want to say it that way as well, having your back, because that's real sort of power. If you're trusting the creator, it's a lot different than trusting the system that crashes every 10 years, right? So it's all about perspective and asking the right questions and then just moving forward and understanding that it's your path. no one else has the answers for you. So a lot of people have bits of your answer, but no one is going to have your exact answer. That's for you to find. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, is ask the questions and look for solutions, and get out there and try, and understand that there's no mistakes. There are only mistakes. You can't fail. If you learn, you can't fail.
Maybe I'll share a little story on the way out, which is really interesting, that happened yesterday. Is our house in Japan is close to another house. So when we're sitting in our kitchen, you can kind of hear the people next door. There's a small apartment building, and yesterday was a holiday here. It's really interesting. My wife was in the kitchen and she was doing whatever she was doing at the time, and she said she heard some ladies next door talking. Right, what they were visiting was a family day, and they ended up talking about their husbands, which was interesting. So they had the day off. It's the middle of the week here. It was a Wednesday. And one lady said, my husband got up this morning and asked me what I should do today. And she says, what do you mean what you should do today? Right? He goes, well, I don't know. I have a day off. I don't know what to do with myself. And she goes, well, do this, do that, read, go shopping, go walk. It's your day. And then the other lady said, my husband's the same. And then the third lady said, my husband's the same. And my wife said, isn't that really strange what's happening to men these days? The men that don't seem so manly, is that they have a day off and they're looking to be told what to do, or else they're lost. They can't even figure out for themselves what to do on a day off when they're not in a slave system, which starts in the schooling. I'll tie it back to that, which goes to your job, which goes to your death, even, which goes to the rules and laws. And you're waking up and you're going, what do I do? No one's telling me.
That's sad. That's so sad. But that's a result of indoctrination.
Yes.
That's what we've said. We get taught to line up, when to go to lunch. We've got to put our hand up in school. Can I go to the toilet?
Yeah.
And literally teachers will say no. And so, yeah, you get these people who get so indoctrinated that when they get free time, they don't know what to do.
All right. Schooling. We've shared ours. Please share yours.
We will. And don't forget to join our Telegram and email list below.
Yes, please share. This is great. I'm enjoying it. It's getting more and more fun. I'm getting more and more relaxed. So join the Odyssey. If you don't know where you're going or what you're doing, maybe take that first step, come along for the ride, figure out how to get back to yourself. I can honestly say it's a lot of fun.
It is. Join the Odyssey with us. We'll talk to you next time.
Make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom first is what I say. Nothing now gonna get in my way.